My name is Tyler and welcome back to the channel, and like the title of this video does say, we're going over a margin call update because obviously today was a very important day, September 1st. As we do know, we've been waiting for this day for quite a while, and I do think some margin calls have actually went out during this last rally that we have been seeing. Obviously not to the full extent. You're obviously not seeing the AMC mother of all short squeeze. That is not what I am implying whatsoever, but we're going to be going over exactly what I am talking about, as well as what I do expect to happen coming on September 3rd, which is Friday. That is another very important day. As we do know, we have the DTCC, which is essentially telling all of its participants of the DTCC they have to bring all of their individual accounts up to a $250,000 minimum required deposit to stay in a lot of their positions. If not, they will be margin called at 10 a.m. This is very specific, at 10 a.m. So we're going to be going over what I think is going to happen on Friday, ultimately leading into next week. But before we get into that, obviously AMC stock was down about 8% today. We already went over all of the due diligence you guys need to know in the last video, so definitely check that out. But what I like to do on down days where AMC is down 10%, I like to crack open a cold one and enjoy the rest of the night and get ready for tomorrow. So that is exactly what I am going to be doing. So I highly recommend you guys blow off some steam, just relax, take it easy. Nothing has changed with AMC or the mother of all short squeeze. Everything is still very, very bullish. So let me take a drink of this beer, drop that like on the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, all of that good stuff, and let's get into the video, obviously after this drink of this beer. So that is very important. You guys got to stay refreshed, stay hydrated. So as we do know, we did drop about 8% today. Nothing to be too concerned about. And first and foremost, let's go over exactly why I think we did drop 8% today. And one of the bigger reasons, obviously, it is because an analyst for a hedge fund did come out and say that he expects AMC to go back down to $6 per share, an 87% drop. That's not even very important. That's going to be here today, gone tomorrow. Essentially what I'm thinking about that. But what I really think is happening, I'm going to put on my tinfoil hat here, guys, because I obviously don't know this. The data is suggesting this. But I do think a lot of the hedge funds and institutions, they do watch these YouTube videos. They do know what is happening in the AMC community if they do have short positions on AMC. They know that we've been looking forward to this week, September 1st and September 3rd, for the new rule changes to be implemented. Now, for the past couple of days, we have seen the free flow on loan at about 22.5%, give or take a couple little points, right? We have seen it roughly at about 22.5%, whereas we have seen the short interest percentage of free flow only at about 17%. Now, typically, we see the free flow on loan and the estimated short interest about 2 to 3% difference from each other, right? If the free flow on loan is 20%, we would expect to see the short interest at about 17%, and for these to kind of correlate and have an inverse relationship. But we did see that big gap. Now we are seeing the free flow on loan only at 20.60%. So I do think the hedge funds and institutions waited for today and essentially shorted about 2% of the overall free flow of AMC stock, which is millions of shares today, to try to discourage apes and really to have them think that these two major events, these margin call situations, are not going to be very relevant. But I do think they are going to be very relevant. But I do also at the same time think that some of the smaller hedge funds and institutions have actually took the last couple of days, really the last week, to start actually covering on some of their positions. That is really why we've seen the short interest go down about 1%. Since about a week ago, but nothing to be concerned about. We're going to see that short interest come back up, especially after the move that we did see today. In my opinion, like I said, about 2% to the positive. So we're going to see the short interest, in my opinion, go to almost 19%, because we're almost at 17% as we do currently speak. So that is really what I do think happened. I think they saved their ammunition for today to try to discourage apes, and the community knows that's simply not going to happen until the short interest is down to about 3-4%. That is really where you're going to indicate a lot of majority of the shorts obviously have covered. That is simply not the case. AMC stock is going to be multi-hundreds, multi-thousands, $1 million by then. Nobody knows the price, so I don't want to throw out price predictions in this video. You guys are already very clear of my price predictions. So that is essentially what I do think happened today. Now, for you guys that are, for some reason, unaware of the situation that is happening, that did happen for today. Now, DTCC's Bob Stewart, Executive Director, Product Management for Institutional Trade Processing, discussed the impact of Phase 5 of Uncleared Margin Rules, UMR, for over-the-counter OTC derivatives, which kicks in on September 1st, 2021. There will be an upsurge in the volume of margin calls and an increase in the need for third-party custodians to keep safe collateral. Now, that is why we have seen the reverse repo market at all-time highs, well over $1 trillion, at $1 trillion, about $200 billion today. So that is a very large number. You're seeing that rush for safe collateral, and it's really starting to kick in to full gear. Now, I do want to mention the OTC derivatives. That is essentially if me and you made a contract, and obviously a contract, we would be obliged to follow that contract, making these contracts over the counter. So we're not doing this on the exchange. Think about that like the hedge funds institutions doing that with the banks. But this is essentially to stop an Archegos situation or a fallout like Archegos, where JP Morgan, other banks took multi-billion-dollar losses, and Archegos kind of just said, well, we can't really pay you because we collateralize bad debt. So that is essentially what is going on right here. That is why third-party custodians are going to start keeping this safe collateral, and it's really going to level the playing field for other hedge funds and institutions to not really be able to go severely over leverage. Now, there's going to be ways around this, but I think this is a huge rule change in and of itself. Now, the situation that is happening on Friday is also very important. Now, if you guys are unaware, NSCC has proposed to increase the minimum required fund deposit for each member from the current $10,000 to $250,000. NSCC has received regulatory approval for the proposed rule change SR NSCC 2021-005 on August 11, 2021. NSCC is providing this notice to its members of the implementation and effective date. I know I blotched that word, excuse me. And effective date September 3rd, 2021. On the morning of the effective date, members with a fund deposit below $250,000 will incur a deficit that will require funding at 10 a.m. Now, the best way you guys can think about this, think about Citadel or JP Morgan. They have multiple accounts with DTCC, the National Clearing Corporation, the NSCC as well. So essentially what that is going to cause is all of those each individual accounts are going to have to go from a $10,000 minimum required deposit down to up to $250,000 per account. So potentially you're looking at multi-million-dollar margin calls coming for the hedge funds and institutions, especially the big ones. You're looking at tens of millions of dollars. On the overall grand scope of things, you're looking at billions of dollars that is going to get sucked out of the market. Now, the running theory is if some of the hedge funds and institutions, obviously this doesn't really apply for the big guys like Citadel or Jane Street Group, some of the other large hedge funds and institutions, but the smaller guys, they're not probably going to be able to come up with all of this capital that is really being essentially forced onto their hand today, September 1st and September 3rd, to stay in some of their short positions. Now, if they're going to start covering on their AMC positions, that is really up in the air. But nevertheless, it's going to be billions of dollars sucked out of the overall markets, not just for AMC stock, but the overall market. So I do think this is very important. But I really think September 1st today, this new rule change or rule implementation was very important. And I think this is going to have lasting effects on the overall market, but AMC as a whole. Now, when the dust does settle after, in my opinion, the tinfoil hat, remember that, the 2% free flow on loan that was actually sold short today, when the dust does settle, you're going to see a monstrous rally, more than likely around that September 17th options expiration date. That is the monthly options expiration date. We do currently have about 140,000 calls that are in the money, about 250,000 calls that are out of the money, a lot of those being positioned just out of the money at the 45, the 50, the 60, the 80, and the $100 strikes. So we're looking at the potential here to see a massive move in the next couple of weeks. That is really the situation. What is going on with the margin calls? We don't know exactly what firms were actually margin called on until some report does come out about this. But this is the best of my ability to be able to explain it to you guys and where we do currently sit. Yes, margin calls are going to start going out, like Bob Stewart did say, intraday and often. So that is all for this video. Drop the like on the video. I wanted to keep it nice, short, sweet, and simple as possible so you guys can enjoy the rest of your day before we get back to action with AMC stock and the overall markets coming tomorrow. Like I said, drop that like on the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell. Also, check out the 4 links linked down below in the description. There is a free Discord chat all about AMC stock, so definitely a place you want to be. Check that out. Also, a link for the buy and sell alerts. That is very inexpensive. That is also down there as well. A link for public. No need to link a bank account or deposit a single dollar. You get up to $70 in your choice free stock. It only takes about 3 minutes time, so that is down there as well. There is also a link for Webull. Deposit $100, get 4 free stocks, each of them potentially worth up to $2,400 a piece. And the only reason I do have that link, just because some people are going to say, talk about why are you promoting Webull down below in the comment section. It's because they do have that setting where you can turn off the availability for hedge funds and institutions to sell to lend out your shares without you knowing about it. You can actually turn that off in Webull. So that is why I do have all those links. Check them out. That is all for this video. I will see you guys in the next one.